India, not just India, the whole world is consuming content in a completely different format. Uh, Companies, production houses, artists, writers, all of them are having to adopt to this format. And this format is bite-sized content. What started as a snap, as a short video, as a reel, has turned into our primary way of consuming content. And it has also made the likes of Netflix and the likes of the Bollywood film industry that is doing sessions right next door revisit how is it that they want to structure their stories. If you see how a Netflix show starts today, it's very different from how it used to start earlier. Uh, there is a lot more attention given to the fact that there is very little attention from the audience. So with that, I am very excited to have this conversation with some really big names here today. We've just heard their introductions, so I'll not go deep into that. For people who are new to India, India loves Pani Puri, which is the small water-filled globe. And India loves biryani, which is an elaborate rice meal with many layers. And the thing is that India has started preferring Pani Puri over biryani as far as content is concerned. And we are going to talk about that. To begin with, the few of you who are here, raise your hands if you've watched short videos, short form videos, reels today. Yeah, thank you. And raise your hand if you've watched an OTT TV episode today. Wow, you guys wake up early. Okay, with that in context, let's start. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining and making time today. I want to start with one question. Why are Indians hooked on this bit-sized content? What is the human insight because of which you think this is attractive, addictive, and it resonates with them? Gautam, if you want to go first.
Sure. I like your analogy. I think the amazing thing about YouTube is that we start you off with Pani Puri and then take you to biryani. So you've got the full menu. No, but look, I mean, I think, and it's consistent with what I just said. I think short form content is a great way to discover new talent, new things that you're interested in. And it also caters to, modern consumption habits, right? We have busy lives. But for us, it is really just one of the formats on YouTube. As you know, historically, we've had a very large focus on video on demand, but we're also seeing tremendous growth with podcasts now, live as well. So it is truly multi-format. I think Shorts plays a role in that, like I said, but it leads you to other things as well. I think it's a combination of it's easier to create, it captivates you, it gets you introduced to new things, and we all have busy lives, but it then also is an avenue for for you to explore things that you're deeply interested in.
So you're saying shorts act like the gateway drug to addictive content on your platform?
No. I mean, I think that it allows people to creators to choose the format that works for the story that they're trying to tell, and some of them can be through shorts. It can also make stuff more accessible. We've seen, for example, how to learning cooking videos going from 3 minutes to 5 minutes into the short format, and and it's a way for people to also make content simpler, concept simpler, and more accessible.
Great. Alan, I wanted to come to you and go a little deeper on this. What is it about human beings generally and Indians specifically that they like bite-sized content so much, want to consume it so much? What have you seen in your journey that has stood out for you?
Yes. So first of all, it's a great honor to be here. Been working for the platform formerly known as Twitter, now X, in the past 11 years. So obviously, like the platform, the leadership we have here, we also have a lot of insight. And however, if there's one platform that comes with the DNA of bite-sized content, it's probably X Twitter because it's a platform of
Right.
brevity, creativity. You need to be really, really smart. What we can see now is also the population in India. They're incredibly young. They're incredibly hungry for information.
Sorry.
From
One
such-
sec. Sorry, one sec. Can you guys hear us clearly at the back? Can you give us a thumbs up? Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry, go on, Alan. I was just checking if the sound is fine. Please go on.
So do you want me to speak louder?
I think you have to keep the mic a little closer, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's what we're seeing. The audience we're seeing in India is incredibly young. They're also growing. They're hungry for content. They're extremely passionate. I don't know if we're going to see Virat Kohli here, but did you know he was the fourth most mentioned handle globally on X last year? And then you have Elon, you have Donald, and then Virat is right up there.
Yeah,
So-
we are not surprised by that.
so that's why we're saying we will continue to engage with extremely passionate crowd with
Right.
bite-sized content here. We're seeing a growing adoption from the creators as well.
Wonderful. You know, there is a certain rawness to the content that is made in the bite-sized format. And Pulkit, I wanted to come to you and then to Ankush about this, which is that, you know, hyper-local looking, shaky videos from, you know, somewhere, some corner in Meerut is rivaling big, pivotal prestige shows now in terms of engagement, in terms of shareability, in terms of memorability itself, in terms of references among friends. Is authenticity the key to middle India, to lower India, the next billion, as the guys at Google frame it, right? Is that the key, this kind of authenticity, this rawness? Pulkit, what have you seen at Snap?
Firstly, I think we should keep this a bite-sized conversation given the resounding size of the audience. But coming to your question, I think, look, one of the things that we're seeing is, I don't think there is this only existence of bite-sized content in India. You have very polished, behind the paywall content, which is so-called premium by OTTs. And the content serving in India is very contextual. So you see bite-sized consumption when people are commuting, as Gautam said, in their busy lives. And then you see lean back, long-form content viewing via OTTs. And then you also see the emergence of somewhere in between forms of content that Drama Box is kind of producing. I don't think the jury is out that India is clearly moving very heavily towards just bite-sized consumption. But when you talk about authenticity, I think this was also mentioned by Shah Rukh Khan in his session yesterday. I think authenticity today is a rare commodity. And we are proud to say that our platform is inherently built to cater to an authentic form of self-expression. So if you look at Snapchat, it doesn't open to a doom scrolling feed. It opens to a camera. And the camera is all about you putting you front and center.
It's a creator-first kind of a
Absolutely. It's all about your self-expression and the fact that the camera capabilities are now enhanced. It allows you to create content in the moment and share it with a very close set of friends and relatives. So it is about building. And the other aspect I do believe, which you touched upon, is I think this concept of content creation is now a pan-India phenomena. It is not limited to just urban centers. And we do see a lot of authentic content that is coming in bite-sized forms. It's also coming in long-form content that OTTs are creating. So you see a lot of these small-town stories that evoke those values
Right.
in OTT, movies or these 10 episodic series.
Yeah.
I will just add, we talked about formats and the multitude of formats, and obviously, longer form storytelling but when we look at our own platform, yes, Shorts is growing, but the living room is our fastest growing surface. And there, the consumption is happening on content that is 20 minutes and longer.
Right.
And so, I think that there's room for all of those, and it's not necessarily, and that's true here in India as well. In fact, I think we've said largest streaming service on connected TVs here, in Japan, in the US. And so people are also consuming things. It's just
Right.
that it's for a different purpose. You're coming for longer form to really engage much more deeply, to connect in a different way. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree with
Yeah,
what you just
I
said.
want to come to that about first screens and second screens and how creating content when you are the first screen versus the second screen. But before that, Ankush, I wanted to come to you about this thing that Pulkit talked about, right? You know, the phenomenon in middle India, lower India, where a lot of people have become creators and want to do self-expression. And ShareChat and Moj have been right at the forefront of that. So what has been your view of how this has evolved?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting. So, ShareChat and Moj are largely tier 2, tier 3 focused.
Yes.
And I think we've been debating internally how does content differ for these people versus a tier 1 audience, right? And I think it goes back to what you said, it's being relatable. And I think that word relatable translates to different meanings in different genres. For example, we were very recently looking at humor content. So I think all of us would know that like short 15-second, 30-second humor skits are very popular across platforms, right? So we were looking at what happens on ShareChat Moj, what happens on some of the other platforms. And there are very subtle differences. So a tier 1 humor will be sarcastic, will be a bit more polished.
A bit dark, cynical,
Yes,
that kind of stuff.
they won't
Yeah.
dramatize it. But like if you go to tier 2, tier 3 humor
It'll be
content,
slapstick and stuff like
it'll
that.
be like overly dramatized, very simple, relatable situations,
Right.
loud background music and canned laughter. So I think it's a bit different, although we call it humor as a single category. But I think
Right.
these differences come in, and I think we're even seeing this in other forms. Like I think you mentioned long form drama. What we're seeing is we have a decent sized drama category. What works is a middle class man who's struggling financially, maybe having fights with in-laws, suddenly gets a lottery one day and becomes rich. So they
Right.
want relatable, but they also want hope. I think that
They
works
want
in tier 2, tier 3.
aspiration,
Yes.
they want some kind of hope. Makes sense, makes sense. Hope is a very important part of how India consumes content. So uh, let's move forward. I wanted to talk a little bit about Gen AI, and Gautam and Pulkit. I wanted you guys to tell us a little bit about this. Uh, both Snap over the years and Google even more recently has launched a lot of Gen AI tools, and you see that that adoption is crazy. Like even we at Kuku are very bullish about Gen AI and the kind of outputs that we are able to get, the speed at which we are able to get, the consistency, the variety, all of it is outstanding. What does it mean for the creator ecosystem on platforms like yours? Uh, I feel like I can do 10x the amount of output I'm doing currently as a creator because of Gen AI. And that means that your platforms are going to be bloody crowded with a lot of content being put up on your platform. So what does it mean for you from a creator viewpoint and also from an engagement and discovery viewpoint? Uh,
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, Gen AI obviously is a transformative technology. We've been using AI for several years now
Yeah.
to enhance the viewer experience, you know, provide better search and discovery. We use it in our ads systems. We've deployed AI to keep the platform safe, you know, in our trust and safety operations, as you can imagine, with hundreds of hours of content being uploaded. How do we ensure that we are, you know, catching stuff that doesn't comply with our... So it's been something that has been improving the platform and being leveraged by the platform for many years. And now, you know, you can actually use it to supercharge creativity.
Yeah.
And truly get more people to get involved in creation as well. And so when we look at Gen AI, and for us, it's everything is about, you know, how do we serve our creators better? You know, Neil goes up and says, our job is to provide the best stage possible for them to do what they are good at and what they're passionate about, and then, you know, build a sustainable living from there. So we're looking to use AI to really, you know, provide better creation tools. So imagine, you know, you now have somebody that can, you know, technology that can help you figure out what concepts and scripts to put together. You can do editing. You can use AI for multi-language audio and dubbing and backgrounds. And so I think that's we want to harness it for our creators so that they can actually create better content, tell better stories, and that's our approach. And you know, and you're right, we're already seeing a lot of that. You said yourself, as a creator, that you have become a lot more productive.
Yeah.
You can create better quality content. You can get ideas, and that's the whole point. And if you want to go from, the 100 million people that we say upload a video on YouTube over the last year here in India to the vision here of 1 billion storytellers, then this is just going to be a very powerful aid in that journey.
Right, right. One of the things, sorry Pulkit, I'll just come to you. One of the things that I often feel like is that Gen AI is turning storytelling, content creation from an art form to a science. And that we are seeing panning out. Yeah, Pulkit, what are your thoughts on this?
I think plus one to what Gautam said, from a Snap context, we launched something called, there's a tool called Lens Studio that we have.
Yeah.
We launched a Gen AI lens creation tool on our app that allows you to give your text prompt and you could create a lens or a 3D asset in just seconds. And this is being prolifically being used by creators, and it lends a very powerful tool in terms of creating content that Gen Z users on our app consume.
Right.
So there is one side on how AI is enabling, as Gautam said, the content creation, scripting, editing, multimodal, multi-language creation. On the other hand, I think we also use a lot of AI tools to make our My AI experience on the app better, to render personalization and content serving via better ranking models that allow you to serve the content that users would like to see in a certain context. And therefore, bring this flywheel alive, which is allow creators to use some of these AI-led features and tools on our app to create on-the-go content and serve content that basically the Gen Z users like. At the same time, I think if you look at the role of AI in the world of content creation, I don't think it is going to kill the creativity. It is still being used as an input tool, which is allowing you to drive better productivity or better efficiency. I don't think it's going to really take away the aspect of creativity, the fascinating aspect of human mind. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think tie it back to what you said about the importance of authenticity.
Yeah.
And building that relationship with fans and trust, right? And so that obviously doesn't go away. And when I speak to creators, whether we do panels, I was just in Korea a few weeks ago, that's the one thing that they really talk about, is that that connection with the fans and how important that is to them. And that will get enhanced, but that relationship matters.
Right,
And that's where
right.
like the human,
Human telling a story to a human, that connection cannot be
and
lost.
I think has technology not advanced content creation over the last 30 years, and industries adapt and create better content. That's the
Right.
way, it's going to probably play out.
Right, right. No, makes sense, absolutely. I wanted to come to you, Ankush, because for a short video app, it takes a lot of serious tech and AI muscle as a startup to figure out personalization at the scale at which you guys are. And that's where I believe that you guys have used your AI muscle really well. So tell us a little bit about that. I think Gautam and Pulkit also touched upon the personalization recommendation engines, but want to get a startup view on that as well, how that journey has been. Yeah.
Yeah, I think recommendations are at the heart of any short video platform. I think more and more we are moving away from social graphs
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
to algorithmic ranking, right? I think it was, for a startup, it was much harder, especially from India, because I think we don't have that niche specialization of recommender systems, AI within the country. I think all the large platforms, the Western platforms have largely had their teams in the Bay Area.
Right, right.
And I think we had to go the same route. So the way we approached it, we got some really senior talent from the companies that are sitting on the panel, some really good folks, but we had to get them in London. So we have a large AI team in London, senior folks, but we're building the next set of leadership of recommender system AI from India. But yeah, I mean, that is really at the heart of it. If you don't
Right.
have it, you're not on the game at all.
No, absolutely agree. Okay, I'm going to put all of you in the spot now. Okay, I want you to tell me what is it that you admire about your rival. Okay, so what is it that you admire about the OTT players like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, Geo Hotstar, so on? What is it that they have that you would love to have, and what is that one limitation that you think they will find it
Hello,
difficult?
hi.
Yes, yes, hi. We have Boris also joining us. We'll come to you in a bit. Yes. So yeah, what is it that you admire, and what is that one limitation that they have that you can see from your vantage point? Whoever wants to go. Whoever wants to start. Alan, you want to start?
I think, like I share, we admire all the players with long-term format, short-term format. But I think, like I said in the very beginning, there's one thing that has not changed with Twitter or X today, is if you talk about it's a platform that is a second screen of whatever watching,
Yes.
and if there is a first scroll of whatever that's happening, it's probably still X, and that should continue to be the case, no matter you're watching President Biden pulling out, that's not even a year ago, of the election, or you're talking about, you know, the 14-year-old hitting a century,
Right.
and I think even Sundar was celebrating this on X, right? I think that will continue to be the case, and I would encourage the publishers, the content creators here to continue to do that, to drive that overarching conversation across platforms.
Right,
We're celebrating
right.
something passionate.
Pulkit, you want to go next?
I think there is a lot of admiration that you can attribute to all platforms. For example, OTT platforms have really kind of brought the big cinema to a home screen on your TV. And it's kind of, really disrupted this model of, okay, all the big superstars are only meant for a 70 format. That's no longer true.
Right.
On the other hand, they've also kind of given an opportunity for small, not so known stars to come and participate in this whole festival of really big filmmaking or these episodic content, long form content. I think incredible about YouTube, they've really democratized content over these years in India, where platforms like YouTube or Snapchat or Meta or ShareChat have given these small town creators an opportunity to come and express themselves to a sizable audience, something that they couldn't ever think that could happen. You could reach 100 million plus audience in a very short span of time.
Right.
And you could create monetization models to basically earn your living. So there is a lot of admiration. I could go on, but I'd probably hand it over to others.
Yeah, I mean, look, on a personal level, I watch Amazon and Netflix shows and love them, and I think that there's obviously certain stories that are best told over multiple seasons and episodes, and so you talk about the democratization through shorts, and this is pushing the boundaries in the other direction, right?
Right.
And I do feel like the diversification of talent now and the number of shows that they can participate in, so it's expanding that end of the industry. And I think the storytelling is all, the concept that you can pursue, the types of scripts, etc., and the story, like you're going beyond what was just available on traditional
Right.
TV.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, it's good for everyone, right? You've got, everything from the hundreds of millions of people becoming creators to then pushing the boundaries on the other end. So, I think it's great.
Did you know that 93% of the free time of 18-year-olds is now spent on the screen? Now we can philosophically debate whether it's right or wrong, but that's the reality, and this is because of all the work that's happened over the last few years in India.
Yes, there is no moment when in a day you are not in front of a screen anymore. We've made our workplace around screens. We've made our content consumption around screens, and we've made our pastimes also around screens. So,
If my mom is a proxy, 100% of that is on YouTube.
Ankush, you want to add something on this? What do you admire about Netflix and?
I think they serve a very different purpose to a lot of short form content platforms. I think the ability to tell deeply captivating stories I think it's best served by them. So
Right.
I think that's one part that I feel that all the platforms on the shorter side could improve upon. Also, I think it allows to have high CPM, long
Yes.
form ads.
Yes, of course, it
So, of
allows.
course,
I'll
that-
come
that
to the
hurts a bit.
advertising side of it. That's a good point to touch upon. I'll come to it. I want to bring in Boris into the conversation. Boris, a lot of interesting stuff happening in Russia, which we don't have exposure to because we consume most of our media in English. So I'd recommend Boris to tell us a little bit about what's up in Russia and what's happening in the bite-sized content space in Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, please note Boris will has a pre-prepared speech that he will deliver in Russian, and he's got a translator with him, Igor. Hi, Igor, who will do the translation for us. So let's hear it from Boris on what's happening in Russia around the bite-sized content space, and then we'll continue the rest of the conversation. Yeah, over to you, Boris.
Thank you, my friends. Я представляю «Газпром Медиа Холдинг», самый большой медиахолдинг Восточной Европы.
Hello everyone, I'm speaking on behalf of Gazprom Media, which is the largest media holding in the Eastern Europe.
У нас 8 телевизионных каналов, 3 платформы, больше 50% радио в России и часть печатных изданий.
We have a lot of TV channels, we have some other internet platforms, and we also have the 50% of all the radio in Russia.
За последние несколько лет мы очень сильно развиваемся в интернете и во всем, что происходит в медиасреде, в VOD-площадках, и у нас есть собственная платформа Rutube.
In the recent years, we are currently developing in the spheres of media platforms in internet, and we also have our own platform, which is called RuTube in Russia.
Rutube — это сегодня платформа длинного видеоконтента номер один также в Восточной Европе. У нас на сегодняшний день 78 миллионов, к 80 миллионам в месячной аудитории подходим. Это очень большие показатели.
The audience of RuTube in Russia is more like 80 million people, and we can state that it's the largest platform in Russia and Eastern Europe. It's a video hosting.
За один год мы выросли в 2 раза, это тоже серьезный показатель.
Just in 1 year, we have upgraded twice, and we really suppose that it is a very good benchmark.
«Газпром Медиа» за 3 года мы научились производить контент в 3 раза больше, чем раньше. И у нас есть, мы можем сказать, что абсолютный конвейер по производству контента, и мы самые быстрые в сроке реализации.
And now we can state that we have learned to produce 3 times more content comparing to the times before, and we can state that it's a very, very rapid progress for us.
Так как очень сильно меняется в мире потребление контента и делится на несколько типов, один из форматов, который мы внутри себя разрабатываем, это телефастфуд. Это фастфуд контента. Например, начался COVID, и у нас люди ходят в масках.
And of course, we are trying to adapt to the new changes, and we are also trying to adapt to the change in consumption market. And one of these changes, one of the strategies for this adaptation is creating so-called fast food content, which we started to do during the COVID-19, and it is a new strategy for us to develop in the rapidly changing conditions.
Также мы производим сложные формы контента, которые производятся не так быстро, а быстро это у нас несколько месяцев от идеи до экрана.
Also, we are producing other types of content, for example, the long-term content, which is more than 3 months in production.
Мы делаем проекты, которые на большом экране в кинотеатрах забирают первые места. В этом году мы сделали «Волшебник», мировая, можно сказать, мировая премьера, и вторую за историю России кассу собрали.
So this year we have produced the film which is called Wizard, and it was extremely successful in Russian market. It was the second in terms of the money received, the box office.
Так как скорость потребления контента сильно меняется, мы целимся на все аудитории. Газпром Медиа — это единственный холдинг в Восточной Европе, у которого есть все аудитории от 0 до 100 лет.
And of course, as a big holding, we are trying to reach all types of audience from babies to senior people. And we can state that probably we are the only holding in the Eastern Europe which deals with such a big variety of different audiences.
И мы с радостью готовы делиться этим со всем миром, с теми, кому это интересно, и поэтому мы здесь.
And we are extremely happy to share this experience with all the people all around the world. And actually that is why today we are here. Thank you so much.
И, конечно же, забрать отсюда все лучшее и развивать это у себя.
And of course, we are working hard to acquire as much information, as much experience as we can to adopt it in our own land.
Если вы знаете, город Санкт-Петербург — это один из лучших городов мира, самых красивых городов. Он построен так, в нем собрано все самое лучшее с мира архитектуры.
Probably you know there's the second city, second largest city in Russia, which is called St. Petersburg. And this city is very unique because all the biggest architectural buildings are collected in just in one place.
И в медиаиндустрии мы тоже хотим стать Санкт-Петербургом, быть лучшими в мире.
And our particular aim is to become St. Petersburg in the field of media industry.
Спасибо.
Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much. I love the analogy that you guys gave about St. Petersburg. I wanted to say one thing which I should have started with, but I've prepared poorly, so I missed it. That do you guys know that the vertical video industry in China has overtaken the Chinese box office this last year? The vertical video industry has done more business than the Chinese box office, the film industry there, and it's one of those early headwinds that will probably come to India as well. Which brings me to the other part of this equation, which Ankush was also alluding to, gentlemen, which is around the advertisers, right? Bite-sized content has a certain kind of engagement, a certain kind of relationship with the user, and with that advertising revenue is generated for that engagement. You are able to monetize that engagement. How does that change as OTTs also? You know, Netflix has started the advertising tier in the US. In India, of course, Jio Hotstar is a advertising vehicle as well. How does bite-sized content compete with advertising, compete for advertising revenue with platforms like the long-form OTT platforms? Whoever wants to go, I think Pulkit, if you want to go.
I think you look at the India ads market, it's the 7th largest ad market in the world, growing at a fast pace, probably will more than double in the next 4 years, at the back of two things. One, at the back of the growth of commerce. If you look at, if you just associate what's the revenue that commerce companies make on ads, and you put an attach rate to that, $60 billion of e-com GMV, between Amazon, Flipkart, they make $1.5 billion of revenue, a 2.5% attach rate. You keep the same attach rate, this industry will grow to $300 billion. That means you're creating an incremental digital AdX of $10 billion. Now what this means is, if I'm talking of a $20 billion ad market by 2028, 29, which is third or fourth largest ad market in the world, I think there is ample space for everyone to play. And at the end of the day, the ad market is really governed by the value you deliver to the advertiser. Whether you're serving an ad on short-form content or a long-form content, it is ultimately about the advertiser value. Are you giving the desired outcome that the advertiser is measuring? Having said that, I do believe that I think advertising will evolve, and it will evolve on the creativity side, because if you look at the role of AR and AI in terms of how creatives will be executed on the platform, it will play a very redefining role in terms of how brands engage consumers, irrespective of the format. And the other thing is, in my view, is I think advertisers will probably have to pay a little more aspect to the dimension of attention. Because if you really look, everybody, it's inherent human nature today. Everybody wants a faster car, a faster road, a faster internet speed, a faster screen experience. And therefore, attention is going to be a very valuable currency that advertisers will have to pivot to apart from reach and frequency.
Yeah.
And we'll have to probably redefine how that is measured in terms of delivering advertiser value.
Yeah, we don't have the meta leader joining us today, but one of those things is a thumb stop, right? Like delivering a thumb stop today is 5 times more difficult than it was 2 years ago because of the number of content ads that have crowded a platform like an Instagram. Similar is the case, will be the case and is the case with all your platforms where the number of advertisers are growing, but the number of content just going onto the platform is also growing exponentially. And now in that content wildlife, you have to stand out, and that becomes even more astronomically difficult for advertisers to crack creative thoughts that can stand out on your platforms. I wanted to come to you, Alan, and then to you, Gautam, about this. What are your thoughts? Are India's CPMs ever going to grow to begin with?
So I think I want to share interesting facts. We know we're known for a text-centric platform, but actually in India, more than 77% of the content consumed in India on X is actually video. And I think my colleague Rishabh will be sharing how to be creative, because also interesting fact, 80% of the Cannes Lions winning campaign integrate X one way or another. So to your point, how can you be creative? And I think the great news is, you probably read the news that the integration between XAI and also X, they'll bring together the most powerful AI tool with the most powerful real-time information traveling the global town square. I think that will give the brands and advertisers the real-time insight, so they can not only read from the past, but they can sort of predict the future. So I think that's something you combine with the creativity, the short-term video content. I think that's something that should be super interesting for the brands and advertisers in India and also globally.
Wonderful. It's very interesting. I didn't know 77% of Twitter consumption is now video. Gautam, what are your thoughts on advertisers?
No, I think
corner a
summarizing-
large market on the advertisers in India.
Summarizing some of what's already been said, I mean, overall AdX is growing. More of it's going to digital. So that's good for, our industries. Obviously, from an advertiser standpoint, they look for reach and ROI. We talked about the growth of short-form video and, more creators, more eyeballs. So all of that is there. I want to flip it to the creator side, because we always think about it from a creator side. And up until now, it's really been the creator economy has been supported by,
Right.
Advertising. And, we've talked about the big numbers, globally paid out $70 billion over the last 3 years. Just here in India, 21,000 crores in the last 3 years. So that's really large. But I think what's happening is it's also now going to commerce and brand deals. And when we talk to a lot of our creators, they say that that is becoming increasingly and more important part of how they are earning revenue. And so, we've now got a partnership with Flipkart to do shopping and commerce. We're really excited about that. So that creates a new way for creators to earn revenue. And brand deals is a big business, right? And so beyond advertising, branded content is something that more and more brands are now engaging with creators on, and is becoming a very meaningful part of how they earn revenue. I mean, in fact, I think it was a few weeks ago, Unilever said that they were looking at moving 30 to 50% of their budgets into social, and that is around short-form video. A lot of it. So let's not forget that it's not just advertising, but there's a shift happening in that mix of spend as well.
Yeah, I can imagine people running single-person companies now, where they create a product and figure out marketing through platforms like all of you people's platforms, and using Gen AI to run single-person companies that can earn $100 million just by transporting some value to the user through content. And that's thanks to all these headwinds that we are seeing. I want to come to the last question because we've sort of run out of time. So I'll come to the last question. I'm going to put everybody in a spot. I want one recommendation for you. After all, this is waves. We are pushing for create in India. So I want one prediction from each of you. In the coming year, what should Indian creators be focusing on? What is the new thing that's going to break out in the coming year for Indian creators, and you would want them to focus on that? Ankush, if you want to go first, being the Indian company flag bearer here, please.
One big wave will be with the help of Gen AI, you will find really high quality, polished Bollywood, if I may say that,
Bollywood level.
like content, getting very, very cheap and getting democratized. How smartphones democratized content to short form. I think Gen AI will make longer form, very polished, high quality content also very cheap and easy to create. for the
Yeah,
creators.
that's a great one. Game of Thrones is not some big production house or HBO's domain only now. Game of Thrones can come from some kid's, bedroom now. That's possible today because of Gen AI. And that's a bold prediction. Thanks, Ankush. Pulkit, why don't you go
I think,
first?
look, we are a young nation, 380 million Gen Z. I think that's the bright side of what India has to offer. And this offers not just the consumption, but also a lot of how the creator economy will be built in India. I think my only hope is that while all of technology, AI, AR will come into play, I think what I really worry about is how do we build a sustainable creator economy where everyone in the ecosystem is building sustainable models that allow them to make money. So hopefully, I think we will be able to do that in the next few years.
Cool.
I just think more of what, I think we're just getting started. So when I see someone like KL Biju from a small town in Kerala become one of our biggest creators with
Yeah,
over 70
yeah.
million subscribers, he's just one of many of those possibilities. So for me, I think the growth is going to be in more hyper-local, more regional, more vernacular. We're just scratching the surface on the potential for that. And that's what I'm most excited about, because then the diversity of voices and stories just continues to get even more amplified.
Makes sense. Perfect. Alan, yeah.
For us, I think we're just super excited. It's still day one for us in India. And we've shared the data that we have just onboarded 100,000 creators in India. We're mostly already making $1,000 a month. We'll continue to double down on that. And with the a centralized experience around cricket shipping pretty soon, so I'm pretty confident that the vibe from this country will be even stronger. And I just allow me to advertise. We're also hiring the first ex-market lead for India, so hopefully we'll get some
Nice.
even momentum from this exciting market.
Wonderful. Boris, yeah.
Thank you. На самом деле в Индии очень много людей, очень много красивых людей, и нужно делать яркий, красивый и насыщенный контент, показывать, какой мир вокруг себя, так как все системы модерации всех платформ сильно меняются, и попасть, быть в надежде на то, что ты создаешь тренд и попадаешь в систему модерации, очень сложно. Нужно очень много работать и делать яркую, красивую картинку.
So, first, thank you so much for your attention. The thing we want to state is that a big treasure you have in India is a great population, a best number of population, and so many beautiful people. So probably what you can do is just to shoot the brightfulness, all the colors you have in India, because unfortunately it's really hard to aim, the particular part and to expect it to succeed in this. So what we're supposed to do is just to create a beautiful content, content which we will suppose will become successful all over the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'm going to wind up now. Just want to again tell you guys that, guys, we are in a great time as far as content is concerned, as far as creative is concerned. You see the leaders of some of the biggest platforms of the world right now on the stage, and all of them are looking forward to rawness, authenticity, real content, real stories that connect with people. Okay, everybody is going to redefine how content is going to be made. This is pretty much an IPL for content. So the way cricketers had IPL and a lot of cricketers got a chance, this is the time when a lot of creative people will get a chance on these platforms because of Gen AI, because of audience preference is going to bite-sized content. So all the best. Be a part of this ecosystem, and there's lots of things to do. Most importantly, there's lots of amazing stories to tell. Thank you so much for your time. Cheers.